Hello again, welcome back. Here we are to continue talking about React Native and React Native navigation. Okay, so navigation is how we're going to get from, screen to screen in our app. Let's get started by making a brand new project for this. So I'm going to go to my class 9 folder here, and I think I'm going to cd into this directory here. So I got my terminal open, and I'm going to follow the guide here. So you can look at my notes and follow this. There's a few things to import. It's kind of a long list of dependencies. So follow closely here. So let's get started with a brand new React Native app. So I'm going to create a brand new React Native app. I'm going to call it example there. Did I already use that name? Oh, you know what? I already used that name. Let me call it, let me actually change the name of this file here. There we go. So I'm going to start with a blank project. So I just ran expo init, and then I gave the name for my project. And then I'm going to choose the blank project. They do give you a tabs option here, but I think it's better for us when we're starting to build the tabs ourselves, because this one is a little overbuilt and it's a little hard to navigate. So I'm going to choose blank, and then it'll take a moment to install all of the basic React Native code. Okay, so we're going to choose a blank project. I'm just waiting for all this stuff to run there. Any moment here. Oh, there we go. So now I'm going to navigate into my folder for my project, and then we can start it with yarn start. So we'll just start it up here to make sure that everything's working. You know what I realized too is I gotta make sure that oh no, I guess I already did it. I usually have to set the version in Node, but I guess I did that earlier. So anyway, I've got my project running here, and I'm gonna run it in the iOS simulator so we can see it on the desktop as I record the video. Oh, there's my app there. And this was the old app. I'm going to reload it. We're going to kind of build this one later. It'll kind of look like this. I'm going to refresh it. Yeah, and it should look like this when you start with the blank app, right? Okay, so that's great. I'm going to open this app up here in VS Code. And this is our default app right here. Open this app to start working on your app, right? Or open up app.js. So this is great. Let me go back to the code here. So we've got our app working. We've CD'd into our app. We've started the app here. Let's import our dependencies. So I'm going to quit the app in my terminal here. So I'm going to stop the server for a moment. Let me clear the terminal. And we're going to import a few dependencies. So the first one is to import React Native navigation. So, or React Navigation Native, right, is how they spell it here, right? So we'll copy this dependency here, and I'll import it. And then I'm not quite sure why you can't get all the dependencies at once, but we also need to get some dependencies for Expo, right? So I'm going to import this next set of dependencies. So this is the mask view. And there we go. And then I'm going to import this one too, right? This is kind of hard to see this whole thing, but this is, I guess it looks like I'm getting the mask view twice here. Maybe that's an error in this, but I also need to get the React Native reanimated React Native screens, and then I guess I got the mask view maybe twice. I'm not going to worry about it. Maybe I'll fix that later in my notes here. Okay. You know, when I looked this up on the internet and I was kind of figuring out how to do this, They had imported all the dependencies at once, and I was having trouble getting it to work correctly if I imported them all at the same time. So if I broke it up into these two different imports, then it seemed to work for me. I could have been doing something else wrong. I don't know. But anyway, so I'm going to import these other things right here as a separate pass, right? So I'm going to get the gesture handler and the React reanimated in screens and safe area content, okay? And, oh, there we go, everything's loaded up. Didn't get any errors or anything. Cool, let me clear that. So now we can start building our app. So the next thing we want to do is we want to get the React navigation stack. So, you know, these are all up here, these are all the dependencies that we need for React Native in general, but then when we're creating a navigation scheme, we might also want to import, you know, the navigation scheme that we want to use, right? So in this case, I want to use the stack navigator, so I'm going to import that separately, okay? So now that I got the stack navigator, any moment there, right? Okay, cool. So let's run our app again. I'm gonna do yarn start here. And there's our app. Let's open it up in the simulator again, just to make sure. It says disconnected down here. So, and then this kind of says success. Since that says disconnected, just to make sure it's reading it, I'm gonna go up to the top here and choose device shake, and then choose reload, right? And then hopefully that'll get it. Yeah, so that looks pretty good now. So now let's get out our code here. And I'm going to look at the notes. There's kind of a lot of code here for some of these examples. So I'm going to go get, you'll see this is like for app.js, and I'm going to get this. We're going to import React. We're going to get the view and text. We're going to get the navigation container, and we're going to get the create stack navigator. Okay, so these come from React Navigation and React Navigation Stack. And then down here, I'm going to rebuild the app component, create a stack, and have another secondary component home screen. So for the code sample here, I put this all in the same file, but you could easily move this home screen to its own file. So maybe I'll do that when I actually write the code. So I'm going to copy all that, and I'm going to replace everything here in app.js with this example, okay? And now you can see that my simulator changes, like the whole view of it, right? It shows me home screen in the middle here, and this kind of looks a little bit light gray, and then you also see the navigation bar at the top. Okay, so the stack navigator comes with this navigation bar, and that's part of the navigation scheme, and you'll see that the navigation bar allows us to set the title up here, and it also lets us install some buttons in the upper left and upper right corner. And it'll even include buttons automatically when they're needed, and you'll see when those show up. So why don't we do a little bit of cleanup here. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to take this home screen here. Actually, maybe I'll even just copy all of this right here, the home screen and the dependencies up there. And I'm going to make a new file, call it home screen.js, and I'll paste everything here, and then I'll export default home screen, okay? And this screen isn't using these two dependencies, so I'll delete them. So the home screen is just a simple view with a text object in it, okay? And you could put a style sheet on this if you wanted. For simplicity, I just added the, to keep the code sample short, I put the styles that I needed as an inline style. So for the view right here, I just gave it a flex of 1, so it expanded to fill the screen. And then I aligned center and justify content center to put the text block in the middle of the page, right? And you could put more in here if you wanted. You know, you could say, you know, style, and then you could put a style object here. Why don't we say font size of 30, you know. So actually my font size isn't working there. Well, I won't bother with it, but anyway, so we've got our view here. Oh, you know why I forgot? We got to import this. Okay, so I'll save that, and then I'll go to my app here, and I'm gonna delete the home screen here, and we'll import it from that other file. So I'm gonna import home screen from / you know, home screen there. Oh, there we go. And so now it's size 30, right? So everything's working. So, you know, you could leave this in here or not. You know, it's kind of up to you. I'm not using this dependency, so I'm going to delete that one. Okay, so we've got our basic screen set up here, and this is a stack navigator with one view on the stack. Okay, so let's actually talk a little bit about the code and how the stack navigator is working. So we initialize the stack navigator by creating a stack with create stack navigator. So we call that function and it creates the stack navigator. And this is the code that sits in the background that manages which screen is currently viewed, and you know, when you go back or to the next screen, it adds a screen to the stack or pops a screen off the stack, right? So this handles the navigation. We need to wrap our entire app in a navigation container. Okay, so the navigation container goes on the outside. Inside the navigation container, if you want to create a stack navigator, you'll say stack.navigator. Okay, so stack is the stack that we created, and .navigator is the component that represents that stack. Okay, so we've put that here, and then any screen that can be on the stack is listed inside as a child of the navigator. So we got to have a navigation container around everybody, and then a stack navigator in the middle, and inside the stack navigator we add any screens or components that can be part of the stack. And you'll see we'll add a couple more of these later. So stack.screen gives us the component or the the React view that we can see on the screen. So this is the stack, right, or the screen that's part of the stack, right? And then we give it a name, so it has a name that we can use, and we give it a component that it can display. So this home screen that we created here is the component that will be displayed when this stack screen is currently viewed, right? The home right here, the name, is used in our code to tell it like which screen to navigate to, and if we don't set the title of the screen, the name that we give it becomes the title on the title or the nav bar at the top. Okay, so the title becomes the name up here, the name becomes the title, right? Okay, so cool, so we got that. Let's talk about navigating to another screen. So I'm going to create a brand new screen here called detail screen. I'll just copy this code here, and what I want to do is, and you could just paste that into this same file, right? Or you could make a new file, put it in here. I'm going to save this as details screen.js, and then I'm going to export this. Oops, I gotta export default, and then we need to import React from React, and we also need to get the view and text component, right, for React Native. So let's get the text and the view from React Native. Okay, so there's our details screen, and let's import that, right? So I'm going to go to app over here and import details screen from details screen. There we go, right? Okay, And now I want to make another view, so I'm going to make a new stack screen, give it a different name, and then I'll give it a component. So I'll copy the component here and put it in there. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. So here we've got our details screen, and now maybe we want to be able to navigate, right? So far I have my one component here, but now we need a way to get to that other screen and add it to the stack. So I'm going to add a button to the home screen, right? So looking at the home screen code here, you can see that we've added a button, right? And the button has a title, right? So there's a title on the button. That's the text that we see when you click the button. And then it has an on press. So this is what's going to happen when you tap it. Now, notice to navigate, we're going to call navigation.navigate and then give it the name of the screen that we want to see. So this name here is the name that we've given the stack.screen, okay? Also, navigation has to come from somewhere. So this is a variable that needs to be assigned a value, and we have to know where it came from. And you can see that actually it came in here as a prop to home screen, okay? So we're getting navigation as a prop, so we need to add that. So let's give it a try. So you can copy the code from here or type it yourself and read this on your own. I'll go over it. Let's see. So what do we want to do? I'm going to go to my home screen here, and I'm going to get navigation. Okay, and then I'm going to add a button. Oh, to get to the button, quick note here is we'll need to import the button at the top for React Native. Okay, so be sure that you import the button. And button, it keeps adding the closing tag. Do not add the closing tag. It doesn't need it, right? Okay, and then we'll need to set the title and the on press for the button. Okay, so we're going to say title of the button is, and actually that's probably what the error is here. Oh, title prop is missing, right? So I got to have my button here, and we'll say I'll just say details, right? And oh yeah, and there's my details button there, right? Or we could say, let's say go to details. Like there we go, right? And then we'll add an on press. And on press is going to take a function, and we're going to call navigation.navigate. Okay? And then we're going to say where we want to navigate to. Okay, I'm going to put a little space in here to make that a little better to read. And I'm going to navigate to details. And again, the details screen right here, this name has to match the name that we used here so that the navigation scheme or the stack navigator knows which screen to get, right? So let's go back over here. So I've got, on this one, home screen, we've got on press navigation.navigate, and then we name we give it the string name of the screen that we want to navigate to. Okay, let's give it a try. So I'm going to click on the button here, and you can see the screen slides from right to left. So that's kind of like a part of the animation and part of the navigation scheme, but it's also part of the visual communication to show people that we're navigating. So anytime a user on iOS, at least, because this is a very common, actually on Android too, when they see the screen slide in right to left, it's like you're moving forward in a book, right? You're navigating forward. It'll slide left to right when you're navigating backwards. You'll also notice that my detail screen shows up here. The title at the top matches the name, right? And then I also get this button up here. So this was automatically added, and it shows me what's the previous page in the stack navigator. So if I click on this, it'll take me back to the home screen too. Actually, it's supposed to show the animation there. It skipped it that first time, but then it showed it the second time, right? Okay. So anyway, so there's a quick introduction to the Stack Navigator, okay? And we'll continue and add some more features and talk about some of the other features in the next video, okay? And thanks for watching.